Before we begin, sponsor mentions from some of our great supporters. Muck Off, clean bikes are happy bikes. Clean drivetrains are fast drivetrains. Old chains break each... Oh, never mind. You need to care for your investment or it will fail. Muck Off is the way. Degreasers, cleaners, sprays, and all the tools needed to keep things running. Be like me and just grab the refills. Save on bottles, plastic, and all other waste. Use the link at packfiller.com. How about NordVPN? Catch all the races without surfing the dark web or whatever back alley method you've been using. Secure your online network without breaking the bank. NordVPN is the solution for your online activities. Use the link, get started today. And finally, Scratch Labs. Best flavor variety, and their high-carb option is the perfect distance fuel you can put in a bottle. If you haven't heard, there are 2 new summer Scratch flavors. Ready for this? Out now, cucumber lime and salted margarita.
Yes.
Interesting.
Wow.
Makes me want to kind of...
It's kind of like
is that
those
drinking and riding?
Well, you know those Cliff ones used to have a margarita version.
Really?
Like those little shot blocks. And they were good.
So I think this might be really delicious. But then I'm going to
Can we
get
get
home.
a sample?
Well, I'm going to buy some for sure. Okay. Yeah. Get to scratchlabs.com today and grab these exciting new flavors. Hey, let's go play bikes. There we go. How about a gin martini Scratch Lab flavor?
Spit take.
You actually went. Like,
Yeah.
I don't imagine. Just like right after a preem lap, you're just dying of thirst, and you just grab that and pull it back, and it's like, oh. Now gin and tonic.
That would be good.
I could see.
But you can make. They have a recipe for gin and tonics with their lemons and limes.
Yeah.
That'd be good. I'm down.
It's like healthy drinking.
Let's try this.
There we go.
Let's do it in the bottles all right.
I'll get the shaker out.
Yeah.
Yeah, next time we need a feed.
Yeah.
I almost did this.
Paul's on the side.
And then I did it. Well, the Giro's over, and there are just 25 days until the tour, which means the pessimists out there, like me, summer pretty much ends in 3 weeks and 25 days. The music was perfect there. For the rest of you, look on the bright side. It is Tuesday. We are live in the Rim Break Bar, and it is time for the longest surviving cycling podcast ever. It is time for the Pack Filler podcast. Really, and the only ones, there were a couple ones that started before this one, and they have all decided to move on to greener pastures. Smart guys. I'm Pat Bolger, your host, and we have some cat herding to do tonight. Full House isn't just for cheesy sitcoms featuring the Olsen twins. Let's see who's here tonight with our prologue question to get things going. I start with a prologue question. We'll let you go last. New guy. Panel, when was the last time you did something stupid and impulsive behind the wheel?
Oh.
Bicycle wheel?
Car. Driving. Did something stupid. First off, he's always got something going on prior to race day, Mr. Paul Main. I can't think of a time I've come up to you and gone like, hey, man, you ready? And you're always just like, well, I got a story for you.
Oh, there you go.
I'm your shit's going down.
But I made it. I finished.
Yeah.
I raced.
You did. And podiumed.
Yeah, on the Omnium.
Well, don't say it in a downward on the Omnium. See?
Well, the thing is I could have, there's some chances there, but I didn't. In the road race, in the crit. The road race was the most important. But
when was the last time you did something you regret behind the wheel, Paul?
It's been a while, but it was back, probably 5-6 years ago, and I forgot to clip my toenails, and I was making a road trip down to Tico to rewire a house. And it's a long straight road, so I peeled my boot off and
no
yeah, because they
way.
have like on vans, it's called a dog house. That's a access part of the motor and stuff of a van, flat nose van. I just had it up there and had my clippers. I always carry toenail fingernail clippers, so that probably wasn't wise. But it's back where farmlands, there's nobody, just rolling Pelusios, kind of like where we raced on Saturday.
I
just imagine him with his foot up on the
dash. I'm limber enough. Yeah,
trying to clip it. That's just.
I did a decent job.
The
filing was hard.
But you don't. That's something you regret doing.
Yeah, because that's stupid. I mean, I could have, got really. I cleaned out the toe jam.
Oh, okay.
But
he could have gotten toenails in his car.
No, it's a company. I wouldn't do it in my car. No, you wouldn't pick up the toenails, but I left it in the work van. So,
The airbags go off with your
and the
legs
apprentice
straight up
goes,
like
"Hey, what is that coconut? Can I?"
It's a coconut. Oh. Good night, everyone. Next off, he's always got words of anti-encouragement. Notice I'm going with an always. He's always got words of anti-encouragement. Like, yeah. How'd that work this weekend? Probably not well. Mr. Sam Waples, how are you,
It
man?
always works well.
Did it?
No.
Okay.
What
What have you done behind the wheel that you regret?
I think that,
and I
like-
can't believe, by the way, Paul started off with like 7 years ago. My story is yesterday.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah.
It's not surprising.
Yeah. I mean, I think that
I'm an
like
asshole.
it's either driving a car into a carport or a bike into a carport type of thing. You know, like that was just one of those things. But I think that like truly stupid was me back in the day, like thinking in a gravel parking lot I should do one of those James Bond J turns, and I ripped it backwards in my Jeep. And then I just spun the wheel, just like spin the front end around. And I'm like, yeah, I'm James Bond right now.
Yeah.
And almost rolled the car.
Oh, okay. I was going to say.
It went up. Oh, yeah.
short
It-
wheelbase. It doesn't
yep.
do that. Yeah.
And the front end's coming around and it just stops. And we just start tipping. And I'm like,
I'm going to shit myself.
uh-huh. And then it sets back down. I'm like,
Were there other people?
yeah.
And they all saw you?
Oh, we all just looked at each other like, it didn't happen.
First gear all the way home now.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
That was this.
How old were you?
Probably 18.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus,
Frontal
you guys are just
Yeah,
like
frontal lobe
perfect,
not developed.
perfect drivers.
Still.
You're assholes. Next off, and this is going to be my first F-bomb, but it's not my F-bomb. Next off, he will always be the creator of the question, how many beers have you had, fucker? Mr. David Waples. I love that I still got that text on Sunday.
Well, I was feeling proud of myself, so
Yeah. How are you?
doing well.
How was your
Last-
nappy?
Oh, I feel a lot better now. I was really going downhill fast.
Did you sleep on your face?
On the carpet, yes.
Okay. Your hair's a little poofy, but
Is it?
yeah, it's kind of
It's fun.
Harry Styles meets the Heat Miser.
Oh, all right.
I don't mean that in a bad way.
That sounds good.
You're a good-looking sack of man.
Yeah, thank you.
It's
Good looking
it's
sack of
got a
man.
little weird really quickly.
I thought we were
I love it.
They were talking about
I'm here
cars.
for
Yeah.
it.
What have you done wrong behind the wheel?
The first thing that popped into my mind which would be most recently, was like 6 years ago.
God.
Was when I first got my pickup, little 92 Toyota. And Sam was like, could I have a ride home? I was like, sure. And then we're driving.
No, I didn't even want to ride home.
Oh, really?
It doesn't matter.
Well, either way, I was giving him a ride home, and we're going up High Drive, and there's like this little dirt trail off High Drive for mountain bikes, and I was like, let's do some truck stuff, and I like started driving down the bluff in my car at like 11 o'clock at night,
Oh, no.
and Sam was mad and telling me not to. I was like, don't worry, bro, it's got 4-wheel drive, truck stuff, and within
Did he literally say trucks?
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
It was like that, too.
yep,
Yeah.
and
Probably playing country.
within
Yeah.
like 2 minutes, out of nowhere, some branch or tree trunk or something that I couldn't see because it was pitch black, punctured the sidewall of my tire, and so then the truck with brand new tires had ruined tires because you can't fix the sidewall, and I was fixing a flat at 11 o'clock at night on the bluff where I wasn't supposed to be.
Sloped like this.
Let's get out the jack and do truck stuff.
Yeah, but there was no jack.
Yeah.
There wasn't.
There was no jack. Yeah.
Wow.
My dad.
So
had to bring us a
then,
jack.
you know, like what could have taken me like 15 minutes to bike home, 5 minutes to drive home, was like an hour and a half.
Why didn't you just leave him?
Honestly, this is another one of those times where I'm like,
There's something you regret when your brother was behind the wheel.
yeah.
All right.
How old were you?
This was right before
Oh,
med
it's
school,
not that
man.
long
Yeah,
ago.
this was- no, I'm 24.
Frontal
I was
lobe
trying to
still
get you
not
off on that one.
Yeah. Next-
Frontal lobe.
Next.
No.
Should be.
Next off, he always appears to have his luck balance out, Mr. Jackson Vulture. It's like,
Yeah.
you're Jerry Seinfeld. That's a Seinfeld
Okay.
reference.
Even
Like he's
Steven.
even Steven, because you had 2 races go absolutely brilliant at the beginning of the year,
Yeah.
and then this weekend it's like he just got nut kicked.
Yeah,
by
nothing really went
just-
perfect.
but,
This
yeah.
is okay.
Yeah.
But
Tell your father, who paid your insurance for years, last thing you've done behind the wheel that you regret.
honestly, I don't.
Nothing.
Well, I was gonna say I don't really regret anything I've done behind the wheel. I mean, I did hit that pole at Benedito's.
But that's not a pole. That's
Pole deserved it.
a hidden.
Yeah, they
It's
shouldn't have that pole there.
It's a bollard
pole's
protecting the light,
light
is.
post.
Light
Yeah.
post.
Yeah.
Then it would really be bad because that light post would fall and crush your car. So
Well, it would have fallen on the street, so then it wouldn't have been.
no, you chop it low and it comes down the other way.
I think that I make the rules on physics, so I think you're wrong. I'm not very impulsive when it comes to stuff. Purchases, I might be a little impulsive.
Nobody's ever cut anybody off. Nobody's ever turned without hitting your turn signal. Nobody. You guys are all just.
Well, that's an
Angels?
everyday thing, cutting people off and not using your signal.
Oh,
I thought you said something stupid.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
okay.
just normal
And something
Spokane
you
driving.
regret.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't regret that.
I don't regret that. That guy had it coming.
I got 2 more introductions to come up with something new. Then.
Yeah.
I mean, I lived in Portland, so I was
Yeah.
honking my horn all the time.
Okay.
But I was never impulsive.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Next off, and new to the show tonight, this is his first time in the Rim Break Bar. He will always be known to me as the guy that Sam has an apparent man crush upon.
Yes. I love you too.
Welcome to the show, Mr. Ryan Short. How are you, man?
Oh, thanks for having me.
Welcome to this. You were thrust into this
Unwillingly.
First of all, Ryan, I want to get this out of the way and let you know that I think you're a cool guy. Second of all, I want to know who the fuck voted you onto the team, Sam. No, I'm cool that he's here. I'm really cool that he raced, but you were just like going, "Hey, I found this guy. He's gonna race for us."
That's great. He made it sound like this was some unanimous decision.
Yeah.
A long
Like,
time. You guys have
he's
been voting
in.
on this for
He's
years.
in.
Yeah, he just
said-
voted you in, and we're like, "All right,
Perfect.
no big deal."
For what it's worth, I would have voted for
Yeah.
Ryan.
I would have too.
But,
now.
but I didn't get a chance.
Yeah,
I think the text read, "Hey, we got a new teammate.
yeah,
It's my buddy Ryan."
yeah.
And
everybody's like,
I had to go.
He's going to be wearing our
who's
dirty
Ryan?
Who
jerseys.
the what
he'll be wearing our kit.
You know, Ryan, man.
Yeah.
The guy.
The guy. The love of my life, my heterosexual
Yes.
life partner.
Yes. God.
This isn't even an understatement.
Yeah, there we go. Well, first of all, welcome. I think we said that already. And second of all, do you want to confess something you've done behind the wheel that you regret?
Oh, well, things I regret behind the wheel, that's easy. You probably would have heard about it anyways. Let's see. The last one was on Friday. I don't know if you know this, but it takes... Before you celebrate too much, it takes 6 hours to get from my house in Bellingham to Sam's house. Which means at 10 o'clock in the morning, I'm thinking, man, I'm driving 6 hours to get to Sam's house. And at 11 o'clock in the morning, I'm thinking, I'm driving 5 hours to get to Sam's house. And this goes on for hours. And hours.
Regret.
So that's mostly just the regret part. Let's
Yeah.
see. Most of my car escapades have been too far in the past to be interesting. Nearly dying in snowstorms.
Okay.
Smoking some deer. That's
Get some
deers
deer.
are always a good thing.
yeah.
I've done that. Yeah.
God, I'm stuck. So me, I will always list dislike roads on a gradient. Yeah, upward gradient. I have a bone to pick with the race directors from this last weekend. I'm Pat Bulger, and I was thinking of something just everyday violation. I had to I missed the crit on Sunday because I had to attend a high school graduation. Wow, I got to make that sound not like I'm a creeper who just goes to high school
please do.
graduations. But it is part of my job as a teacher. And we got to this parking lot at Gonzaga University. Probably heard of it, people who are listening. I saw this parking spot on the street. And I was like, okay, I'm going to make a U-turn and I'm going to hop into that parking spot. And so I started my U-turn, and this guy in a gigantic man truck with his family and obviously a father of a student hits the gas, and he comes straight at me as I'm pulling the U-turn because he assumed because I didn't hit my turn signal that I was going straight or something like that. And he gave me this stare. It was the most condescending asshole stare I have seen in so long. And I just immediately had like childhood flashbacks of my dad on the golf course where he's kicking my ball down the field and stuff like that. And I totally wanted to
Daddy issues.
2-finger salute him. I totally wanted to, but all I did was I just looked at him and I waved and I smiled. And I think I pissed him off. And I'm kind of glad.
Well done.
Good for you.
Yeah.
That is always the worst
But I regret
thing you
that.
can do.
I regret it was technically my fault because I should have hit my turn signal before hitting the U-turn.
Yeah.
But I didn't because I was in a hurry. I find in my car I drive a little too fast.
In your Mini?
In my Mini. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's too fast for a car.
I should slow down. And I get a little impulsive behind the wheel because I know it'll accelerate, and then I piss off a lot of people that way. I probably should work on that. Nah. Let's address our new friend to the show. So it's the get to know Ryan section of the show. Do I have a theme?
I love this.
Yeah. I don't have anything.
Horrified.
I'm horrified.
I don't think I have anything.
Your secrets are
The scream, since we don't know who he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
We have a new teammate.
What?
There we go.
Yeah, there we go. Brian, what brings you here?
Sam.
Shouldn't have batted your eyes
I-
like that. That was weird.
Yeah. The butterfly eye flutter. It was a bit much.
Oh,
I thought I was safe on a podcast. Thank you all.
Yeah.
So I have not raced a road bike since Mason Lake 2019.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit. What?
It was pre-COVID, for sure. So the fact that Sam called me and was just like, "Hey, you should come do RC3. I got you an entry," and I was just like, I don't. My bike's not been off the trainer in a very, very long time, and somehow he didn't even say anything else. I was just like, I found myself in the car on Friday, just 4 hours to go to see Sam, 3 hours to go.
Spoiler alert, you crushed it this weekend and you haven't been racing.
Oh, it's a better story than that.
Crushing is I'm very happy with my racecraft. Seeing the numbers I saw on my computer when I remembered my computer, which was half the time.
Did not remember it on Saturday.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was wild to be back. I have been doing a lot of mountain biking and just a lot of subtle differences that it's sort of like an uncanny valley thing. Like, I think if I'd just been running this whole time,
Yeah.
it would have been an easy transition. Come back, I remember this. It's road biking. I've been doing it for 25 years. But the fact that I've just been, the tension in your muscles is different. The position is just slightly different. It's the same thing, but just
But
different.
you're always reaching for that dropper post.
And the number of times on my road bike I reached for the dropper post this weekend was too high.
So you do have an extensive background and you currently are still riding off-road quite a bit.
I'm riding off-road a lot. My retirement from racing has been pretty great. Mountain biking's been good to me in the past few years. I was riding for the Kona Super Grassroots team for a year and a half there. And what else have I been up to? Yeah, doing some testing for some folks, and it's the most cycling has given back to me for the amount I've put into it. And I'm very, very grateful for that.
Yeah. I mean, for like his, like...
I take back my vote. He's too humble.
He's very humble. That's what it's super annoying.
What's wrong with that?
Right?
Shut up.
But like, it's one of those things. Like, he took his bike. Like, he rode his road bike for the first time in probably like 2 years at least. Right?
Yeah.
Like 2 years on Wednesday.
Really?
I take him out on Friday and we do a little bit of an opener. He goes, that hurt. And it was like, 20 miles. And he's like, I don't know how this is going to go. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know how this is going to go. But you are Ryan Short.
Sam was putting the screws to me.
Yeah. I was like, you are Ryan Short. You usually just do things.
Okay.
And then he was there.
So you guys, college?
Yep.
College friends?
Okay.
Okay. So that gives me a
He's the one when I
understanding.
went into kinesiology and joined the cycling team.
Really?
Yep.
Did you say that word, Ray?
No, but that's
Okay.
how I said it the first time I went to sign up, because all I knew was Ryan Short was a kinesiology major.
Okay.
And the person looks at me like, do you know what this is? And I'm like, yeah. After our conversation, I'm like, it's a little bit of this and a little bit of that.
Yeah.
And they're like, no.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I give him credit. You're a bonehead. When you're not sitting in a podcast studio, what occupies your time?
I sell stickers and sticker accessories.
What?
I sell stickers and sticker accessories. I don't know if you got the Hank Hill. I sell propane and propane.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I got that reference, but I'm like, going, really, stickers?
Oh yeah, stickers.
You don't have to mention the company if you don't want to, but yeah. Or you get a free plug.
If I can, I'm happy to.
Absolutely, free plug.
Hydroscape stickers. We sell infinity stickers. They're 26-inch stickers that wrap around your bottle and create an infinite landscape.
It sounded like you said butthole.
Yeah, it wraps around your butthole.
Wraps around your butthole.
Bottle.
Okay.
Butthole.
Bottle.
I heard butthole.
I got one after my colonoscopy.
Butthole sticker.
Yeah.
You gotta seal it up.
I might have a name for tonight's show as butthole stickers.
Butthole stickers.
Really?
It was an odd thing to get into, but it's provided a great work-life balance. Happy to have the job. I can come here and hang out with the Waples for
For a week.
For a week, yeah. It's a
Cool.
good system.
All right. If you had one thing you could tell us that would embarrass both Sam and or David, would you tell us?
Of course.
You would.
Yeah,
Okay.
just
You don't
give me-
have
give me
to,
a-
I'm just
give me
saying.
a category here.
No, I'm just saying. Okay, so you have fuel. Okay,
Oh, yeah.
so let's just say open season throughout the rest of the show tonight.
Yeah, I'll be looking.
There we go. The past weekend brought to us our local big road event, which I have been talking about, the River City Cycling Classic, which is called the RC3. We had actually a really good response from this last year when we covered the race, so we'll do it again here. A time trial, a road race, and a criterium omnium never fails to bring plenty of drama, and this year was absolutely no different, I think I could say, for the entire group. Let's recap some experience. So we had some podiums in both stages, and did we have any stage podiums?
Yeah.
Ryan.
Yeah.
New guy.
What'd you
And
take?
Sam.
Ryan and Sam.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What, okay.
TT.
Sam, you got what in the TT?
Second.
Second in the TT. Ryan
I got
got
second in the crit.
second in the crit.
I got nothing.
You got nothing?
I got nothing.
Paul got a second overall.
Second in the TT.
Second in the TT.
Nice.
That's a story in itself.
How'd you sit in the road? How'd you sit in the crit? Where'd you finish in the crit?
I finished fifth.
Okay. And
Overall, though, right? Like, because that's mixed categories.
Jackson didn't no podiums.
I got a new chain. So that's nice.
We'll get to that one. The bumps in the road. So actually, Jackson, let's just go to you if you want. Who experienced a bad day? You probably you had 2 bad days.
Weirdly, yeah, I kind of did. First day TT was fine. It was I think I set my second ever best power output for 20 minutes or something like that.
It was like
It was 300 something.
Yeah.
So I was pretty proud of that. But it earned me 7th, which I was like, what the hell? I tried super hard. And
It's a bike.
Yeah. In comparison to a TT bike, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
And then on the road race, so for those of you that don't know, 3s, 2s, and 1s all race together. So we all did 90 miles. And around mile 86, I started to cramp in my inner thighs.
That's the worst.
Yeah. And I was just like, I'll finish it. So I just got out of the way of everybody else because I knew that I didn't want to leave a gap. I don't want to be that guy. So I just kind of dropped out and rode the rest of the race. I was proud of the fact that I just finished.
Do we directly blame Paul for not having 3 hands?
No. Sam gave me his bottle.
Oh, okay.
Sam gave me his other bottle, which was great.
Even though he gets roasted every single podcast. What a nice guy.
Yeah. Sam was, he was a helper.
Since when did you become this little desert flower? Jeez. Oh, baby.
Yeah, I had a lot of ours. I had probably almost a whole bottle left by the time you'd handed bottles, so it didn't really matter. And then on Saturday, crit was going really well. I felt surprisingly good after feeling like shit the day before. And then Sam comes up alongside me and goes, "Jackson, we got to move up." And I went, because this was 5 laps to go.
Yeah.
And I go, okay, yeah, let's start moving up. And I get onto Sam's wheel. We put a little power down, and throughout the whole race, I'd been hearing like a click, click, click when I shift into some of my gears, and I was like, the bike.
It's disc brakes.
Well, no, the bike, the bike had been laid down prior to the race, so I was like, maybe like a derailleur got like tapped or something like that. And then I put the power down, and I just hear ching, and I can't move the bike anymore, and I don't hear that typical freewheel sound that goes. And my chain had exploded underneath me, which sucked. And everybody was just saying, like, I've never seen it happen on the road. I've only seen it happen like on mountain bikes or off road. So everybody's like, you just got too much power.
Yeah.
And I will say, I have tested the length of the chain, if it's stretched, all that stuff earlier in the year. Sam may be my witness. And it wasn't. But that was just the day it decided to go.
Too many watts.
I'll take it. But it sucks. But now I have an excuse to get a new chain, and it wasn't that expensive. I thought it was way more expensive.
You got your Preem.
Yeah, I got a $100 Preem from it.
That's pretty
They paid
cool.
for it because I paid for overnight shipping because I want to race this Thursday. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
Which means I have to wax it for him.
which I heavily appreciate, and I don't want
Thank
to burden you with it.
You have
But
a
I
stripper?
very much
will.
appreciate
What do you use to strip it?
I've got Silka stuff coming.
Oh, do you?
The whole thing. Wow.
Oh,
free
you get the
free plug for
one
Silka.
like the one like I have. That's
No,
strip-
I just have a crock pot, mini baby crock
Yeah.
pot.
But you've got the stripper that Silka has. Yeah.
Which room is the wax and strip room?
Well,
Yeah, I was noticing your chest looks a little hairy.
honey, come on down and show them. she just arrived too. How about? Well, I had a couple bumps in the road. First of all, I could only attend one day, and I chose to race the road race. And I was
Should we bust your balls? How
Oh, it's at what point has the barrier been set?
There's no line in the sand.
No.
Yeah.
Not for you.
Just
no.
just don't make fun of my wife or my
Yeah.
well, you can make fun of my child because he's right there.
Yeah, because I'll just go back.
No,
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to me. I think I might be settling into my senior years because I had so many brain farts. I got to the venue. Actually, I drove 3 blocks away from the venue, and my wife says, "Do you want your Wahoo computer and your GoPro?" And I went, "Yeah." She goes, "They're here on the table." And I went, "Oh shit!" So I drove back and I got them. Then I got to the whole venue. I forgot all my fuel, all my nutrition, everything. I had no bottles. Paul gave me one of his bottles. You guys gave me another bottle. Genius napper over here was like, I was like, "Hey, what's in this?" He says, "It's scratch." I'm like, "Okay, cool." I got 2 miles into the race, took a swig water.
Oh, you know what? That was my ball sweat one.
Thank you.
yeah.
Now I have this like salt water. I call it ball sweat.
Do you?
There was no scratch, but there were electrolytes.
You are so wrong, lying. You
It's
seriously
literally I
lying.
call it ball sweat.
No,
It's not called that.
I'm not
Is
lying.
it the light balance stuff?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's the light balance.
That's it. Okay, that's how you had it.
Yeah. There's no flavor.
I'm just trying to let that settle in that I drank David's ball sweat.
Yeah, you did.
Yep. He wrung him out for you.
mine.
Yeah. And so and then fortunately I stopped for quote unquote lunch at a store and I bought a couple Cliff Bars and stuff like that. No unintentional, well, completely an unintentional plug for Cliff, and that was all I had. And so I did not have a good race, especially because they changed the venue changed of the start finish, and
Much better.
Much, much better.
Much, much better.
of the start.
End of the finish.
No. Hilltop finish.
It's not a hill.
It is a hill.
It's a flat road course.
Not a hill.
It is a flat road
I got
course
2,000 plus feet of climbing.
in 60 miles.
Shut up.
It's flat.
Shut up. There was a hill. And I got
Where?
dropped. I got dropped the second time up it. And I was like, great. Here's my strategy. I was like, okay, I'm going to take it a little easy. I'm going to ride tempo on the climb. And other guys who get dropped, I can catch them and we can kind of work together. Everybody who got dropped had been dropped prior to the hill. So and nobody in that front group got dropped. I spent 29 miles by myself.
That's lonely.
Yeah. But I got 10th.
Yeah,
Wow,
see?
That's great.
You never give up.
That's a top
Never
10
give
right
up.
there.
10 riders.
You got points
Oh, there were
on
11.
the Omnium.
There were 11 riders.
12.
There were 9 riders. How did you get 10th out of 9 riders?
Moving along. Jackson, how is it? And I don't mean to signal you out on this because you're a freaking machine, but to go from the road race distances, updating those road race distances it's a big jump to go from 40, 50, 60 to 90.
Yeah, it's
add-on question: how cool is it having 3 domestiques?
It was really cool if I just had anything left.
Yeah.
We did that.
3 domestiques. You had tum-tum problems. You were too busy going.
But the thing is, what happened was halfway through the race, one Cat 3 and another guy went off the front, and then Sam.
Both Cat 3s.
Yes,
Okay.
Sam came up to me and goes, "How much you have left?" And after that first lap, I was like, "Oh my god, they were ripping it up those climbs." And so I'd stuck with them. I don't know, by the power of God. But I started to feel better after we went up the climbs, because there was a time when he looked at me, he goes, "How you feeling, buddy?" And I went, I gave him a thumbs down, like
You
a
did.
strong thumbs down.
You did.
Yeah. And then we got onto the top of the climb, and I was like, wow, I'm back. Okay, I feel way
Really?
better. Yeah. And then those climbs happened again, and I was like, this was really bad. But when we did those before, these 3 guys all came to me, and Sam said, "How you feeling?" And I'm like, "I'm feeling a lot better than I am first lap." And then all 3 of them came together and just reeled that gap in very, very quickly.
40-second gap. I'm just gonna say 40-second gap. Okay, Cat 3s. We don't have to technically reel that in. It's not our race. But I was like, well, I look at Ryan and I'm like, "Ryan, those are Cat 3s. What are you doing?" He goes, "It's a bike race, Sam." And I'm like, "You're right, Ryan. It is a bike race." Assemble! And then David comes from the back of the pack, comes up, and is just like, the 3 of us just start rotating through, and I'm like, "We've got this." And we pulled in that 40-second gap pretty fast.
It was really quick.
Yeah.
And that was really great. And then the third lap came, and
Yeah.
that was the worst I've probably ever felt in my life. I said after I'd finished that road race that was the hardest thing I've ever done.
Really?
It was unbelievable. Just the pace we held.
I
Probably,
saw you vomiting into a grocery bag.
No,
at the end of Belgian
this
Waffle
was
Ride.
stupid
And this was
hard.
worse.
This was like dumb. I honestly held 193 watt average for the entire ride. I held 22 mile an hour average
For the whole
for
thing.
90 miles.
With a
As
pretty
some-
small group.
Yeah.
You know.
As somebody who I'm honestly meaning just this last year, this is my first ever official Cat 3 race. To do that was dumb. I big up to this race. If you're listening, come over, do it. But 90 miles is a stupid distance.
Well, and I just want to say, whose fault was that third lap, Sam?
Shut up, Ryan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard about some sort of a poll being taken at the start line.
Okay.
Ryan, no, Sam, wait. Ryan, I am so happy that you just said that.
Shut up.
Because everybody voted.
Hold on.
Everybody
Just stop for a second. I'm going to mute Sam. Okay,
Because
he can't talk.
Everybody was we were like, who wants to do it? And everybody, there were 3 people that voted for 90 miles. 3 people. And Sam had voted for 50 some miles as well. No, 60 miles.
Yeah.
And then one guy, I will leave it for him. You can unmute him.
Are you sure? Okay, you're clear.
Ian
There you
Tubbs.
go. He said he wanted to do 90.
He just goes over here and he's just like, shyly goes like this. And I'm like, nope, fine. 90. Let's see what happens.
You're one of those guys at at the kids silent auction. It's like
Uh-huh.
going, "Hey, that's a pretty cool finger painting.
Yeah.
How much you going to bid for it?
Yeah.
$10. I'm going to bid $1,000.
Yeah. Well, here's the
Like,
reality.
and then you
is I
wake
just
up the
wasn't
next
gonna
morning
let
going-
him get out of that. You know, he's a proper road racer. Ryan can defend me in this. So can David. He was actually our old teammate. And so I'm like, fine. You want 90? Welcome to Spokane. Let's do 90. And then instantly I did have a little bit of
idiot.
regret. That
And
was
he
there.
won.
Yeah.
Yeah. He won.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have stayed with the group. At the
I would
end.
have too, in my defense.
We would have all stayed.
Yeah.
But then we had to ride 90 fucking miles.
Yeah. Paul, talk to me about you. Apparently, they assume that when you reach a certain age, you need to have your hand held across every crosswalk because you only got to do one freaking lap.
Yeah, and we
30 miles.
We talked to one of the promoters there, Bruce,
Yeah.
and he's thinking
2
maybe
for everybody.
Yeah,
2 across the board.
Yeah.
I think
2
that
for
is
everyone.
yeah,
excellent.
for next
Yeah.
year. But that's to be
That's a good
determined.
idea.
So
That's a great
it,
idea.
it is. I mean, I don't know what it's like to be 70, but even at 60, it's just way too stupid. And I've done this 2 years at 60, and the winning break starts at like kilometer 0.
For your
And-
race.
Yeah, and,
Really?
and what happens is like single people like me what am I going to do? And there's other teams. It's like I can't chase everything down.
Yeah.
And I was one in our group. There was only 5 of us did the TT, and so I've got only 9 miles of TT in my leg, and everybody else is fresh.
Yeah.
Will you
And
freaking
so it's
age?
like I gotta wait.
Me?
He can have a team.
I know. I want to. No, I kind of want to, but I don't. But I do.
Interesting.
Because I wish I was there. My field was seriously like a melting pot of cyclists.
Yeah, you had everybody.
I had Cat 4s, Cat 5s / novice. Where's my scream sound effect? There it is. Hey, everybody, we're going to start the race.
But please get into the sport if you're really thinking about it.
But I had a dude in front of me with a mountain bike visor. Nothing wrong with that. I ride mountain bikes. Mountain bike visor was halfway up on his head. It looked more like a tiara. He had touring shoes on.
And tube socks.
No.
Jean shorts.
Jean shorts.
He had headphones on.
Oh no.
Oh, that's rough.
And I'm just like, I don't mean to be I am a prick. So just embrace your inner prickdom. I was pointing to him going, everybody just watch out. I mean, I was, and I'm not going to mansplain to the kid. I'm not going to come up and go, here's what you got to do. You got to, unsolicited advice. I hate those fucking people. There's 2. Is that my second F?
I think you've read 3 or 4 already, but keep going.
Let's 2.5.
Fuck
It's
it, just keep
explicit
going.
rated.
But I just, he scared me, and and I'm thinking to myself, I've been racing my bike for over 30 years. Jesus, over 40 years, and I've kind of earned the ability to race with people who I feel comfortable with. Maybe I just need to get faster and race up a category or something like that. But everybody, you guys in the 1s, 2s / 3s field fell victim to the race dynamic changing because different categories are up front and other people.
Yeah.
There's Cat 2s that are racing like Cat 4 or 5.
But you guys were saying that at one point in time there was a break up the road, and a lot of the riders were going, "No, they're Cat 3s. We don't give a shit.
It's not our race."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which that was fair enough in its own right. If for some reason the only thing you're interested in at this race is your results on the sheet that only the racers are going to look at, which is like, if that's what you're interested in, bike racing is going to be not particularly fulfilling for you. If you're not there for the bike race that you are in, and those people up the road are dropping you right now, like,
do you guys see where my mentality comes from? Like, you guys, I show up every time and I'm like, I'm gonna rip everybody's.
Paul was.
I agree with that, but this is an unusual race. Just to say that.
Did I just unknowingly jab you as well?
No.
I just muted Sam again, and it's
to
so much
explain
fun.
something, that this was our district championships.
Yeah.
So then,
So you had a
tactics.
jersey on the line.
Yeah. So, and same with the 1-2s.
Yeah.
And the 3s were so. I can understand people like, no, I'm not going to burn a match for district championships.
Yeah.
That was probably half the people's logic. I understand. If that wasn't on the line, then I would have been on camp with you. And that happened in my road race.
Yeah.
Because we had 70 plus, and what we weren't going to chase down. We had women's novice, and we had women. I think we had all the women's fields in our group.
No, we had 1s, 2s in our.
We had 1-2s, and so we had the 3-4s and stuff. So
there were 2 of them.
To me, I understand.
You're unmarried.
Like if I was a 1-2, and Tubbs is in the race, and there's 3s up, I'm like, that's the guy to mark. I'm just watching him. That's how I play it.
No.
What about Crockett?
David? Crockett?
No, Tubbs
Okay.
and Crockett.
No.
That's a
No,
Miami
no,
Vice
no.
joke.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this:
I don't
if
know,
you
get a
are
beer.
a Cat 1-2 and you get beat by a Cat 3, you didn't get that WSBA jersey.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's-
come on.
Nope. No. I will die on a stake for this.
Yeah, I'm a little with Sam.
Yeah,
But-
you did not get that.
I'm going to
jersey.
throw this in there. That was on the second lap. There's still another lap to go. You still haven't. You have another lap to play that game. They could have blown up. There's so many things. Ian could have just
these
said.
riders.
If you're just
I
hanging
know
them
these
So
out
you
riders.
think Tubbs would have just allowed that to go?
100% because he didn't care. He wanted the jersey.
He actually
he did
said,
let it go.
He came up to us and he's like, "Why are you guys chasing that? That those are 3s?" Because both the second and third lap, we were chasing a group of 3s that were up the road.
Yeah.
And they were freaking strong, dude.
Yeah.
They were strong both times, but nobody else in the race was interested in chasing them except for us at this bar. There was nobody in the 1-2 field. So it bums me out that we had this district championship with a field of 8 Cat 1-2s, and half the field's racing 8 people, and half the field is racing the whole field of 20 or whatever. It's not a good dynamic.
Yeah.
I felt.
But the organizers can't do anything about it. They have to create. They can only let so many fields out on the course.
I'll be the devil's advocate here too. The thing is you guys then are obligated because you had the biggest team for the 1-2s.
But we didn't.
Yeah, we were
the
tied.
Huggins Burns guys were bigger, and they had 3s in their race as well. In their group
there was 2 and 2.
Yeah, and but they like brought their 3s as workhorses for their 1-2s, which I think is kind of like, I don't know. I don't like that dynamic. It's a bike race. Everybody started at the same time, and ultimately a Cat 3 won that race, even though Tubbs got the jersey.
The Masters won it. He just sat in the whole time.
Masters 40 plus.
Yeah, Ian.
Oh, he was a 1-2. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyways, it was a bummer of a dynamic in my opinion, because not everybody was in the same race. We were all out there, but like my idea was not, I'm going to beat these the 4 other guys that aren't on my team. My idea was like, I'm going to win this bike race that we started with.
I'd be interested to hear other people's opinion on this too, because I do think that I was looking at Ryan in the race, and I'm like, what do we do? And he's like, it's a bike race, Sam. Yeah. It's just like, I think of like Top Gun Maverick. What would you do if I wasn't here?
Do you ever not think of Top Gun Maverick?
No, with you it's always.
Thank you. My God, the man is sick. So, but Paul, you had a small beef with another rider. We don't have to mention that rider's name. Did you avenge in the crit?
No. He's the one that beat me in the crit here last year.
Okay.
And in the road race, there was 2 teams that had teammates that went up from the gun. And the 2 guys that stayed back, one won Tour de Bloom, the other one I've raced with last year, and he got 6th at nationals. So those are the people to watch.
Okay.
The guy that was tossing me tons of shade through the race because I wasn't doing anything was doing exactly what I was doing.
Yeah.
Sitting down, because I'm like, I can't, I just want, and he had 3 other teammates that should have chased it down. I'm by myself. So when the race went off, I'm like, I wanted to go. I thought this is a break because those 2 strong guys, no one's going to chase them down. Everybody's watching those. That would have been the opportunity. But Saturday, my legs felt like a bag of dicks. I'm not kidding you. The TT was awful. I couldn't get a rhythm or anything. And same with the road race. I was just tired and stuff. And I thought, I just got to hope that something happens and brings it back because I wasn't going to be able to go with them. But on a better day, I would have.
Yeah,
I think. Even if I felt like I did on Sunday, I felt much better. But anyway, so this guy was throwing me crap, and he's like, well, "How come you're not chasing?" And it's like, I told him, it's like, why do I need to chase? You have 3 other teammates, and they were getting nowhere. I mean, they were too busy. One guy would constantly flank those 2 riders that I mentioned, and it's like, what are you doing flanking them? Kind of trying to box them in. It's like they're not going to go anywhere. It's like stupid. That's how I looked at it. I don't know. Maybe he didn't know what he was doing, but So when it came down to the 2 guys that went up, of course, won, and then we came for the pack sprint. By that time, it's scattered. There's only about like 10 of us left in the final, and I got on the 2 guys that I mentioned before his wheel, and he came up on the yellow line and tried to nudge me off. I mean, he tried to shoulder me, and I elbowed him back, and he goes, "Don't dick with me." I said, "I'm not trying to dick with you. This is my wheel." And just then, they moved over. Just then, they moved over towards the yellow line, and then now I'm out in the wind, and he had the wheel. And I'm like, oh, crap. And then they opened up the sprint at 200 meters, and he took off. And so,
okay. Why would you ever find yourself coming up to somebody randomly and saying, "Why aren't you chasing?" Just one dude in a field?
Well, so no, I did it to a whole team.
Well, yeah, it's a whole team.
Yeah, this team, the team we were talking about before that had the exact same amount of numbers as we did, they didn't really care about anything else but what was happening in that pack. And I was trying to, like, stoke the fire a little bit, and I was saying to them, like, you guys have the biggest team here, like, let's, like, you can reel them in and maybe I can help you. And then they started to, and then there was a guy behind me and he's like, what's going on? And I went, you guys got the biggest team and you got to make it happen. Yeah. And so, like, little things like that, I don't know who this person is, but I totally want to just randomly just do a drive-by nut kick.
Nevertheless, this is his MO. I've heard from the other guys. He's
down on the ground going, who are you? Vengeance!
This is his MO.
As I run away into the night.
This is this guy's MO. He's a good sprinter. He's strong, but he has a teammates that help him get there, and then he sprints. And he's a big guy, and he beat me in the sprint every time. And I didn't put my nose in the wind the whole race, and because it was fruitless, because all I would do is just then. Now, because I know that several of the guys that were got separated from us that were in the Omnium. So now I'm playing the Omnium game. I want that stage, but I got to now protect the Omnium because those guys are going to win. So I'm going to try and place as high as I can. So anyway, then we came to blows also in the crit.
Man, what sucks is that it's like we have this one weekend. That's really it.
Yeah, and that's what
we don't get to resolve this until next year.
Thank you very much, because that takes
good lead-in.
That does.
Wow. I'm here for you,
we
Pat.
did. No, don't make me mute.
We get along so well.
We do, dude. I love you. Not as much as you love Ryan, but I love you. We're entering into this massive void of races in July around here, and some of you people are going to say, "Oh, it's because it's smoke season." Bullshit. Over the last probably, Paul could probably agree with me on this, 15 years, cycling has been big in the spring and early summer, drops like a hot potato in July, and then slowly starts to pick up late August. Ryan, is it different over in Bellingham?
Over in Bellingham in particular, there's not really much of any road racing.
So there's none. Yeah. How about the mountain calendar though?
Mountain's pretty year round.
Does it continue?
You can always find things to do in the dirt.
Okay.
Maybe there's 6 people that show up. Maybe there's more. But
yeah.
It's a wider calendar.
And I'm tired of this. Well, parents have soccer tournaments they need to go to, and and there are a lot of familial obligations in the summer. Bullshit. That's not. I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that 90% of the cycling public has a kid and a soccer team.
Mm-hmm. Well, and nobody's. I've got this race all planned out. It's perfect. July 24th is the perfect weekend for it. But you know what? Too many soccer matches that week.
Yeah. Nobody's stopping it. Yeah. Whoa, hold the brakes.
Yeah.
I'm in charge of orange slices. Shit. So what's next then? What are your plans to appease your competitive needs, gentlemen?
Well, I today, in fact, signed up for our Everett. Is it Everett Performance Omnium?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah.
I gotta play that because I met the race director this weekend.
Yeah. I signed up for it today. It's honestly one thing I did really face this weekend was the fact that I realized what I trained for all year. I trained for crit racing.
Yeah.
And that's like
so did I.
Yeah.
Crit racing's dumb.
It is super not. I love it. But
it is if there are hills.
Well,
it's a flat
there is
course.
Hills on this.
Crits are
on this
future.
It is what it is. But it's perfect. It's a 3 crit weekend, at least for 2s, 3s. Mm-hmm. I found it interesting. I didn't find a 1s category.
Those don't exist anymore. They all retired.
Yeah.
Ryan.
Yeah.
They brought him out of retirement.
Were you a 1?
I'm a 1.
You are a 1.
Yeah.
Damn.
That's why he's auto on the team. Oh, we got a 1.
I can go wherever.
It's like catching a rare Pokemon. It's like
I was going to say that's a key. It's like free UCI points, but the Pokemon reference is better. Yeah, Jackson, continue.
Yeah. So I'm really excited for that. Actually, this is kind of like what I've been training for, what I feel like I've been made for a little while. So I'm excited for it. Other than that, yeah, just do what we have locally. But I'm excited to have something to train for.
Yeah.
That's at the end of June, though.
Yeah.
So that July,
we got July,
space,
that
you
dead
know,
zone.
yeah, still stays open. So maybe there will be something in July that we can all find out, whether it be off-road. Apologies to Paul.
That's right. I'll do the TT on the 14th of July.
Right.
It's a district championship.
Apologies.
Yeah. But there's something to find. There's something out there.
I signed up today also.
Nice. We have one more that might.
And
Yeah,
I think I was looking for the trumpet sound when you said this name of the race, and that is the Everett Performance Omnium,
Mm-hmm.
and they are calling it the EPO. And am I the only one that has a serious problem with that?
I think it's a funny jab.
I
at
think
it.
it's
it is,
good.
yeah. I think it's good.
Lean
Good
into
humor.
it.
Funny.
Lean into it.
Yeah.
Tongue in
I don't
cheek,
mean I have like I'm angry about it, but I'm just
No.
like shit. Let's
Are
perpetuate.
you just mad because I told you I
stereotype.
wouldn't prescribe it for you?
Yeah.
No, it's
No, if
Ixnay on the Ipskin spray.
If they'd called it the hormone replacement therapy, on the other hand, that's a little too close to
Yeah,
the,
there
that's
you
too
go.
close to these days.
Yeah.
But the amateurs EPO, that's
Yeah.
that's out of our
We
league.
can, yeah. Jesus, that's way out of my pocketbook.
yeah.
This guy's starting with it. You guys continue on, and I'm going to think of something else. No, something else to name it. But what does everybody else have on the docket? I mean, what are you guys going to do? Is it, do we, Sam? Do we gravel it? Do we gravel or travel? That's basically what we're staring down the barrel at. David's looking at his
There's
dick.
not. I mean, the
just fell
problem is there's really not a lot of events. Like there's that one road race over in Montana, just outside of Missoula. That's 2.5 hours from us, right?
There's a road race. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, did I find it?
No,
Yeah.
Didn't
We
you talk
talked
to
about it. Yeah, I talked to the guy who's putting it on at Wenatchee. But 2.5 hours to go for a road race is a bit far for me.
Oh my God.
2.5 hours?
So
Ryan, would you do 2.5 hours? Would you meet me in the middle of the state to go and
do Wenatchee?
do a road race?
Sam, I live 6 hours from here.
That's my point.
There's like really nothing in July.
See, it's 3 hours too far.
there really isn't. Are you looking at the WSBA calendar?
I thought you were texting. I thought you were checking your phone for nefarious reasons, and I apologize, David.
I'm looking
Earlier,
at the WSBA
a
calendar.
couple seconds
once
ago,
he's
I said you
participating.
were looking at your dick, and I feel bad about that now.
He's participating.
I was trying to remember because I am terrible about telling anybody, including my wife, what races I'm doing, and I need to be better because then it always creates conflict with schedules, and then I get in trouble.
We already
so I
synced
thought this
our-
was my
Never
chance to.
We
experienced
already
that at
gave
all.
her
No,
our
okay.
calendar link so that the races that I have on, I'm like, yeah, just assume David's doing those.
Holy
Perfect.
shit.
Yeah.
Does he wipe your ass?
Everybody
Yeah, I
has to.
practically have
Yeah.
to.
So,
But really, there's like nothing. I was like, I don't know, maybe there'll be like a gravel thing or something or a mountain bike race. There's like nothing going on in July in Washington.
that's
So it looks like at least.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
what
I
you're
guess
getting at,
we're
huh?
left with just ripping each other's legs off.
That's what I was going to say. How about the concept of, and then, okay. Now, you guys did the Cross Washington Challenge a while ago. Where did that come about? Was that because there were no events? I'm not saying we're going to do that because I'm not going to effing
way.
do that. There's no way.
What?
No effing
That's how Ryan started the conversation,
Really?
and then I got him to do it.
Well,
That's how we all started.
there was-
So we all started. David was no.
you
And
wrote it.
And you made him drink
then
beer.
he did it.
No, the reason I just didn't want to hear him talk about it for years.
Afterwards.
If I didn't go, I was gonna have to hear about it for years.
Oh my God.
If
Sam-
I drug
Sam
his
had the
ass
idea.
across the state, then he wouldn't say a thing, and that's what's happened.
Yeah,
Jackson?
Sam had the idea for five or 6 years at that point, and every year I was just like, Sam, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. At the time, I was still like, a proper road bike racer, and I was just like, Sam, let's do some real riding. Like anybody can do like zone 1 forever. Like that's just a different kind of suffering. You can do that when you retire.
Yeah.
We'll do that another time. And he never forgot about it, and eventually I kind of retired, and
then he did it. That's like this weekend. That's how I got him to do this. I'm like, I don't even know when I originally talked to you about it, but I was like, oh, Ryan, by the way, we're doing a road race.
It was like a week ago.
Yeah,
You
and
said we.
Yeah, I always preface it with we.
Yeah.
And
The
he
royal we?
He knows.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
he knows. He knows that he's included in this. He doesn't really get an option with it. It's like when we go to travel to races in the past, I'd be like, well, where are Ryan and I sleeping?
Right.
And everybody's like,
And what he means by that is which bed.
which
in
bed
particular.
are we
Yeah.
And
sleeping?
your wife looks at you like,
I don't know. She's just like, whatever.
She already knows she's in a
Yeah.
different room.
Yeah,
She's
she
sleeping
already
with-
knows.
she and Gus happily walk into another room.
Yeah, exactly.
Gus is the dog, for those of you who don't
Get
know.
a break from Sam.
Yeah, yeah. So what about, okay, we always have our spirited rides, but I mean, aren't spirited rides just basically a regular training ride, right? What about, you see people like Phil Guyman, who's doing the Strava KOMs and stuff like that. What if that became something that became an organized group effort? Is that something that would appease the competitive juices, or is it's just you need to yell at somebody else and somebody needs to say, get off your, what did he say, quit dicking with me, something like that? Jackson's shaking his head.
That just doesn't. I don't know why that doesn't really appeal to me. Like a KOM search is not really something that I'd be after. I really like the dynamics of a race where everybody has their own plan and only one person's plan can really go accordingly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I also don't find myself to be very suited for that particular type of event.
It's an uphill time trial.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And it's
But-
just not what I.
But even if it
would go
was
for.
like, let's say the whole team gets into a car and drives to a place and does this massive lead out kind of a thing like that, where you're trying to achieve this, it's a team effort.
I'm into that.
There's one.
I don't.
David's into anything that involves suffering. That's the only
Yeah.
reason he's there.
Yeah.
There's not a reason why. There's only
Yeah.
but to do and die.
I mean, every year around this time, I feel like I find myself doing some sort of adventure-focused ride.
Yeah.
Where you just go enjoy time on the bike and like suffering.
You should do it in Italy.
Well, that's in September.
Oh, okay.
Hopefully with less suffering and more wine. But in July, I will be doing, hopefully in July, if it's not terribly hot. But I talked about a big gravel loop with one of my good friends that lives in Salt Lake, either like down in Wallowa, the Wallowa Mountains, or up in Canada. But I'm talking like 500 miles over a few days, sleeping in hotels. That kind of thing.
Okay. You
Like,
got
just
me
a-
back.
Not camping. I am with you. I do not want to carry my stuff.
No.
I want to get in a hotel, have a nice meal, start the next
Yep.
day.
Yep.
So
I'm
I'm
just
just
die on that mountain. That
I'm-
bike camping sucks.
I'm after the big suffer though, in whatever form you can make it. So
Really?
yeah.
Paul, what are you gonna do?
I don't know. I'll do, the TT for districts is in July 14th, and I don't know because
Might go
everything's
do
in.
that.
You can't go. That's the day after my birthday. You'll be hungover.
That's true. It's never stopped me before
You
from
mean-
racing.
You mean carbo loaded?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah.
So that's it. We're screwed.
Yep.
God, that just bumps me out. And I know that I don't know, and that's the problem. I don't know if there's I keep thinking that there's this clientele, there's this audience for bike races in the month of July, and I understand why RC3 switched their event to June because they don't know if our air is going to be toxic here.
Well, they had it later last year,
Yeah.
but the 90-mile race was in like 90-degree
It was
heat.
super hot.
degree,
Yeah, that doesn't
But-
mix well, and that was their idea, and to fill in for it because Walla Walla disappeared,
Yeah.
and that they filled in that category. So
Keep in mind, this weekend in Spokane, Washington, it's going to be 90 degrees Fahrenheit. So, I mean, we missed it by 7 days.
Yeah.
So,
It's getting to a point where you can't really worry about the conditions.
I agree.
I mean, you got to put on a bike race. It's like everybody says, you throw, what is it? You throw the pasta at the fridge and see if it sticks.
Sticks.
see the stakes.
Yeah, it's you just do that anymore
It's-
because you can't count on weather, especially now. We could be looking at Mount St. Helens blowing again. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
nobody knows what's going to happen.
It is hard, though, as a race promoter because you're financially invested.
And I see that.
Many of those promoters are going into an event in the red.
Yeah.
And you hope that you finish this weekend without your wife saying, asshole, sleep in the yard and get rid of your car because we lost money on this. Or,
Which raises the question, is it too hard to put on races?
That 1,000%. Yeah.
It's like you've been here all along.
Yeah. and should it be obligatory? I mean, I think clubs should have to do it. I think every club should have to put on a race. Even if it's a 5-mile time trial for left-handed people with red hair.
Right. But it would have to be tied to it would have to be tied to an easier, less financially onerous system for putting on a race, because it's hard to have a club. And now it's okay if you make races mandatory, then to start a club that means you have to put on a race, which means to start a club you have to have this money that you can put aside to put on the race. So when these races are, when you have to pay cops overtime on every corner or whatever it may be, that's just never. You can't get that many people together that can afford that, and so there just needs to be governing bodies need to focus on affordability more. And, more than whatever it is they're doing. And
I think that's where gravel races and Grand Fondos come in as a promoter. Right. You charge an astronomical fee and just have some Kirkland nuts and bananas there. And
they're open roads.
Open roads. And see ya. Yeah. And they make all
if you
that
blow
money.
Through a stop sign and get hit, it's your fault. Yeah.
Yep.
Although.
And that's doing that. I just had a discussion with Stu and Dan, both Reve members, after I got fired from doing the announcing in the 1-2s.
Can I ask what happened?
What happened? I was announcing, and then because I was on the podium, Mike took over.
Yeah.
And then what happened is I got busy. A lot of people were tapping me on the shoulder and asking questions and stuff. And he seemed to be doing a good job, and it was halfway through by the time.
You didn't get fired. You kind of...
I call it fired.
You kind of, let somebody else take the microphone.
Well, yeah, and he was doing just the same thing I was.
Mike?
2-man break. And that one guy, Ryan, I don't know him, but,
he looks fast.
He's on my team.
He's on my team. I've never met him before, but
there
he goes.
Of all the people.
He better win the sprint. That son of a bitch!
You want to know the real salt in the wound on it?
Yeah, there's...
Well, my chain broke. I came back. He goes, "You want to talk?"
That's what Mike said?
Yeah.
Mike did?
He looked at me and goes, "You want to talk?"
You do a good job.
I don't really know how bad I really want to voice my feelings right now.
My wife told me that she threw text. I'm sitting there in graduation. She says, 5 laps to go. He's in the field. I'm like, all right, sweet. I expect, she says, oh, his chain broke. He's back announcing. And I went, what?
Yeah.
That was quick.
I could just see it. It's like handing the mic. And I almost just envisioned, like, if you had a hoodie over, it's just like going, yeah, bike racing pretty much fucking sucks.
Yeah. It was rough. That sucked.
But I will tell you what, you're a fine actor because your mood was not good, and
I'm not
you
finished.
lifted up.
I'm
he's
not
still going.
finished.
Oh, he's okay. The actor is still on the podium.
Yeah.
Preem lap. Lottie fucking da. Preem lap.
If only.
Son of a bitch!
When we were sitting there, the down times we'd just be talking, and then he would just go, and
did you bring the full
voice?
It was a good time. If anybody wants me again, I will do their bike race. I will announce their bike race.
Yeah. I was upstage. How do I play up to that? I got the premiere show. Here, have the mic, and I'm like, I have to follow that.
Yeah,
it's like me trying to do a stand up with Seinfeld on there. It's like, oh man,
what's with salt shakers?
Ovaltine.
What the heck? Like Roundtine.
and he's over here like, oh, if you got anything for this next lap, you should take it. And I'm like, have you heard my voice? It's so monotone. I'm like, how do I follow this?
Was he not?
That was great.
Yeah.
Well, so
did way better than me.
I told my wife yesterday because by the way, yesterday was her birthday. I really wanted to say that.
Yes.
Happy birthday to Maria.
Yeah.
I want to premise this by saying that bike racing announcing is not an easy gig.
No, it's
not. And I've been doing it for 26 years. And
I kind of
27 years
now after that experience.
Don't hurt yourself.
Man, you might have been announcing my first bike race.
Yeah, I probably was. And it's not an easy gig. And you we're kind of forced into it.
Well, I've been doing a few of these events, not
Yeah.
these type of events, but a few events over the years, and it's something that I've kind of gotten used to. It's just a voice that I click into.
Yeah.
But it was kind of interesting because Sam, you did say at the beginning, you were like, "Oh, like I don't have those like inflections like you do. I don't have those like variations in my voice." Because there's a thing that I do where I will say a word and then I'll kind of like grovel it a little bit. I do. And it would, and then after a little while, I could hear Sam start to talk, and then I would hear I could hear it come out a little bit sometimes, and I was like, I see it pops out. You don't even mean to do it. It just kind of comes out of you.
It was rubbing off on me. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was there.
Well, you gotta entertain, even if there's only 10 people there.
I mean, I tried to fill some of the mic space. It's just that
You did.
Yeah, it's one of those things that too. I think. I mean, I don't know, that setting is also just a tough. Which we were talking to the race promoters about. Like maybe Rosalia next year might be a crit for the future RC3 is what we've talked about. So we'll see. But can I say one other thing about racing?
Nope.
Okay.
I'm kidding. Of course you
Okay, really quickly. I brought this up to Ryan. I have dubbed this week Spokane Super Week, right? Because we had RC3, and then we got the Wednesday night mountain bike race tomorrow, and then we got our Thursday night race. What if it was a proper Spokane Super Week, and we had our RC3, we had the Wednesday night mountain bike race, the Thursday night race, and then we had a crit series the next weekend?
Sam,
Okay, stop.
Sam, that's such a good idea.
Spokane Super Week.
First
You're
of all,
getting me
Ryan,
giddy.
you
Can we
you
hang
hanging
it?
around for the next
Yeah,
couple
I'm
of
going to be here through
Sweet.
Thursday.
Okay.
Sweet.
And if there were races,
So,
Can we call it Sam's Spokane Super Week?
no.
Okay, cool. Just
Never.
Spokane Super Week.
I'll
Sorry,
call it
Maverick.
Sam's Spokane
People
Super
wouldn't-
Week.
we'll cut that
People wouldn't come. Babies would be crying in the streets. It'd be horrible. But, okay, the 24-hour race was 2 weeks ago. And then midweek, you do something again, another mountain
Do
bike
the
race.
Wednesdays?
You do
Thursday?
You get them to put a Thursday race
Yeah.
in there. And then you do RC3, Friday, Saturday. Can you do Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
Well, there's no Friday on RC3.
Oh, there's not.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you do Thursday,
So
what if we
Thursday,
did, like,
Saturday, Sunday,
Thursday was
Monday.
like one at the SCR, or Eclipse, right?
Yeah.
And then like the Friday was like downtown or something.
Oh my
I'm just
God.
saying, you
We
guys,
switched the TT
you
to
guys.
Friday?
20. So I'm counting races.
God.
A 24-hour mountain bike race. We'll count that as one
Yes, obviously.
because you're on a team. Probably
Yeah.
you do it on a team, and then you've got a couple days later you've got a Wednesday night mountain bike race. And then the next day you've got a Thursday night road race. Paul is like doing his grocery list.
Falling
in his
asleep a
head
little
right
here.
now. But if you had a
There's a
road
road
and a
race.
dirt category, you could play around with that too. And you had a both category. And then you Saturday, Sunday, RC3. So that's 6 races total if you include the TT.
Mhm.
Why?
I love that we're going through this.
Yeah,
guys-
because this
but
is a
here-
good idea.
No, it's a
I
great
know,
idea.
but
It's a
here's my
great
thing
idea.
and then
is that
the
it's
next
mixed
week,
categories.
and then the next week after RC3, you have Wednesday, Thursday, and then you do a Saturday, Sunday. That would be a 10
10 days.
race series over 2 weeks. You're not gonna get people to stay. You're not gonna get people to
I
stay.
doubt it.
Very
I-
expensive.
Well, my thought was originally, I
Yeah.
mean, no offense to 24, we can absolutely bump it to that and modify things. But my original idea was that it
So
starts
1
at
week,
RC3
1
and
week.
then it ends the
1
next
week.
weekend.
Yeah.
So it's
But
like
you're
a
still not gonna
Saturday
get
through
people
the
to stay.
next Sunday.
It would be a regional kind of a
I
thing.
think, yeah. Yeah.
That's what
I
RC3
think-
Well,
brought.
otherwise you just have to have, a lot of housing. You give housing to everyone that shows up. Everybody
Yep.
stays at the Waples' house.
Paul,
Obviously.
remember
They
those
got lots
days?
of time.
Yeah.
Paul, remember those days?
But I
when
mean,
you'd
like
go to
how-
a race and there would be multiple host families who would sign
Yeah.
up to actually let you into their homes.
Yeah.
I think that there would
Awkward
be a
as
lot of
shit.
people that would still come for the
Why
like,
is
24
your
if we wanted to start
12-year-old
that.
son hanging from the rafters in my room in the middle of the night?
Yes. But like my idea was that like, if you started at RC3 and then you went through the next weekend was the crit series.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. It's cool in that it's like a mixed category because you got a mountain bike race in there, you've got plenty of road races, like it does it all. So it's like a proper super week,
I love your dreams. That's
I
three
have
three
big
bikes,
dreams.
3 bikes per person, 1 week per person. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're gonna.
Dude,
People are here for this.
Can we
Absolutely. There's a
all-
market.
There's a market.
Can we all agree collectively, and I doubt we will
We're the
on
future
anything, that time trials for non-high-end
Non-pros should be on
should
Mercs.
be Mercs bikes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Can we all agree
The
on that?
pro category, like at Tour de Bloom,
Yeah.
drink,
You too, motherfucker.
should be Mercs.
Yeah.
Pros should be riding on TT bikes because they have them. Everybody else, Mercs.
Yeah.
Because
Like you got
I was gonna say I put out more power than I was really thinking was gonna happen on that day, and there were people behind me that didn't, that started 2 minutes behind me and passed me.
Those are triathletes.
Did they have sleeves?
Well, I think everybody had sleeves.
Did
Yeah,
they
I
smile
know
a
it.
lot?
Smile.
Apparently.
When you told them a joke, did they go? No,
Yeah.
I just, dude, it was not that funny.
That's a triathlete.
Hi, bias.
Hi, boys.
We all worked through all of the news that I was going to say. We killed it. We can't get to the news.
There's no news.
We can't
We are
get to
the
the
news.
news.
RC3
Although,
has
how many
news.
times is Primoz Roglic going to crash? But by the way, I got into a discussion online today about the fact that people are saying Primoz doesn't actually crash as much as you
There's
think he
Mr.
does.
Stanley, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was David. Yeah, from Feed Zone.
Yeah.
And I was like, really? He always seems like he's got his ass.
He crashes at the wrong time and badly is what it is.
So it's just he's a marquee crasher.
Yeah. He's a marquee.
Okay.
He's very selective about his crash.
What ski event did he do before?
Long jump.
Jumping.
Yeah.
No, not long
Ski
jump.
jump.
Do you know
Ski
who
jump.
did ski jumping
Ski
before they got into
jumping.
cycling?
Oh my goodness, that sounds like a fantastic sport.
Yeah.
Did you really?
Yeah, I grew up.
Where?
I grew up in the little Olympic town of Lake Placid, New York.
Oh shit.
When you grow up in a strange place like that with 2,000 permanent residents and a bunch of Olympic venues, you're a ski jumper and a bobsledder by default. They just like give them to you.
When I heard about Roglic originally, I'm like, Ryan made it to the Pro Tour.
Yeah.
You're sick, dude.
Yeah, I know.
You're freaking me out, man.
Yeah, I have a man crush. It's okay.
It's cool. I mean, I could.
I'm comfortable with it.
He's adorable.
Yeah.
Aw. Cuddly too.
Yes.
Anybody catch Unbound?
Yeah.
Yes.
Paul,
Yeah.
did you catch Unbound?
No.
What is that?
Yeah.
No.
Did anybody catch the live stream?
No.
No.
No, because there wasn't one.
We were also
Who would want to watch
bleeding our eyes out 90 miles in.
10
so-
hours.
No, it was under that.
I have to ask though that I know there's an audience for this, and I
This is the guy that wakes up. I'm sorry.
Perry-Roubaix.
Yeah, wakes up at 4 a.m.
yeah
for Perry.
I know there's
That's
an
a
audience for
different
this.
story, yeah.
I know there's an audience for this, and I know I'm tired of hearing that the technology doesn't exist. This is the biggest pile of shit I have ever heard. This is the Super Bowl of gravel cycling, and I refuse to believe that they can't cover it well. Every effing rider in the race had at least 2 GoPros on their bodies. And less than 5 hours after the finish, I saw on YouTube personal footage of the race. I was watching updates by people on Facebook taking segments. So here we are at the mile 50, boom, 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 but the riders are going through. These are people with cell phones. These are not medium end production companies. I'm not buying this shit that you can't cover the race anymore. Cover the race. This is a big deal. This is a huge trend in our sport for cycling. This is the biggest.
Well, it's the spirit of gravel.
Yeah.
Which is changing. It is.
It
massively.
definitely is.
Yeah.
Hey, I saw
It
it.
is really.
The spirit of gravel is retired World Tour pros.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. It
Look
is.
at the top 10.
Van Avermaet was
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. All of them.
I
Van Avermaet.
So here's the thing about that is just like Grand Fondos, we were talking about how much money it is, how much money they make. So Lifetime promotes this. They have their own little channel. That's how they promote it on YouTube. Why lose more money? I mean, because it costs so much to produce or even and put on and watch this race or even televise it. Why not do what they're doing and make more cash?
But they're not
Lifetime
doing
is all
anything.
about making money.
But they're not doing anything.
I know, but the entry and their YouTube channel and all this exposure they do. If they start throwing in television in there and the cost of production, the profitability's gone.
And there's also a risk to that as well with what if it doesn't go well? Like we all watched what was it?
GCN Plus.
No, it was the
there have been a couple years where it's just been a bag.
Call of a Lifetime. That series.
Yeah.
That series that they put
Great
on.
series.
Yeah, great series. And we watched it and we liked it and everything, and there were no issues with it because we already knew what had happened, but it was interesting to see the inside viewpoints of that entire thing. And they didn't put their neck on the line and ruin the possibility of having that touchy service here and there.
I guess my other point is that it doesn't have to be live. Paul, you and I remember, and I keep
but
going to Paul.
Isn't that the essence of live sports? Isn't that the essence of sports?
Let me finish. Paul, you and I remember waiting for the Sunday segment of the Tour de France, wedged in between NASCAR and golf
and boxing.
Yeah, with John Tesh soundtrack, and it was because yes, in the internet days we do have we do now have access to know who won, but we would wait for 3, 4, 5 days to watch the coverage live on TV. Not live, happen on TV. Their version of the coverage. So what I'm saying is, you send people out on the course covering the event live. I'm going to watch it. I watch things on YouTube. Michelle and I watch. My wife and I watch a specific channel on YouTube. I'll say it now. Sid and Mackie. It's a couple that they're both mountain bike racers. We love watching them because they are first-person versions of a race. They're in, I think, Tanzania racing right now. And she tells me every night, let's see if their video's up yet. There's an audience for people who want to watch the entire race. I mean, the NFL fucking network. Everybody's watching games that happened 10 years ago.
I don't know if we live in that age anymore, though. I think...
do.
Well, it's because...
I'm old.
I was going to say,
Sigh.
for people 25 who look and they want to spectate a sport, they want that instant gratification. They want it right there because, let's be real, that's possible now. It's pretty easy to do that. And to wait, first of all, everybody's already going to know.
Yeah.
So why? And then it begs the question: why even put it out there if it's going to be like a race footage?
I have a hard time when I've got people on my Facebook feed who are taking live footage and immediately uploading it, that there's no organization that's going to go out there and if you can do it with cell phones, you can get a Wi-Fi hotspot.
You know what I don't mind about the fact that there's no coverage, though, is that there are quite a few riders out there with their GoPros that are using this footage and, like, this is their career. You know, like, you think about Dylan Johnson's videos, which are phenomenal reviews of races. He'll go through his, like, normalized power and his power throughout all the efforts. He'll walk you through the race.
Yeah.
And, like, he gets a ton of views, so he's making a decent living off of this. If all of a sudden we can watch it live, it's going to hurt him. And he's the one out there that's like actually racing.
Hurt him though?
Yeah, I think you're mistaking that the coverage would take away from him rather than add to him. The more coverage there is, the bigger this thing is, the bigger it is for him too.
Ryan's got my vote back.
Yeah.
I agree 100%. No, he never did.
I knew it.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%.
I mean, you can only watch one event so much.
Not
is all
true.
I'm getting at. You can't watch the same day over and over from 10,000 different perspectives. Every new perspective is going to dilute the amount.
Paul's like, I do.
I
Of every
personally
bike race
think
out
that
there.
you could probably film the last 3 hours, and it might be interesting.
That's what you do. That Milan San Remo, for example, I don't give a flying shit until the last 100K.
Yep.
So you join Unbound Gravel in the last 50 60 miles. You know?
Well, here's my perspective on all that. And we're talking about me waking up at the 1 o'clock in the morning, watch Paris-Roubaix.
Yeah.
Part of the it's
just
the
Roubaix,
atmosphere,
dude. Not just Roubaix.
in Flanders, but
not just that one
that
either.
early, that early.
Yeah.
But the thing is there's an atmosphere in those races. There's people screaming. There's a lot to look at. You go to Unbound, you got the wind, cornfields, and the gravel underneath the tires. There's not much of an atmosphere. You don't know where they're at. And no matter how many graphics and stuff, it's not appealing. To me, it's not a TV watching thing. When you watch Flanders leave Antwerp and the pageantry and everything, and there's a hype, there's an energy. But when you hear flags going, and
Jackson.
wheat blunt.
I don't disagree.
You know
with
what?
him.
You know what that needs?
What?
Good announcers.
Oh, I can do that.
Yeah. We need
Yeah.
good commentators for the entirety of it.
Absolutely.
I do think though that it is very much of a profitable market to be made, or to be put out there. This race, I mean, what's the difference really between any other race and this? There really isn't. Like, spectators bring a little bit to it, but we're going through another Belgian town. Here's another Belgian town.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's all very. I love it. And
Suck
I'm
it,
not,
Paul!
well,
Suck
the thing is, I'm very much on that same page of like, I love watching these races. I've watched entirety of Paris-Roubaix before, but I think the fact that if you're not going to do it well, just don't do it. You got to get the resources, and you got to find the ways to be able to make it the standard that everybody else does it.
Well, it boils down to lifetime. They control.
No?
They do.
Yeah, so it's up to them. It's not anything we can control. And
For the sake of
ASO
time.
does this Paris-Roubaix, Liège, Flèche-Wallonne.
Yep. For the sake of time, I got to get to our segments. I think I got 2 segments tonight. Is that it? 2? 3?
Sure.
2? Let's get to our segments. First off and foremost is... Oh, God. Here goes his all ego. Ask Dr. David.
God dang it! Why does he lead?
Because it's the first on my list.
Okay.
David, talk to us about cramps. We all experienced them this weekend in one shape or another.
Yeah.
I have another joke, but I'm not going to use it right now. What are they? How do we avoid them? And are they always about dehydration?
Oh, great question.
Thank you.
Because I don't know that we really know 100% what all cramps are from.
Well,
But
shit. Next segment.
But we know what to do about them, and there's theories about where they come from. There's like the theory that you're dehydrated, and there's electrolyte imbalances and water imbalances in the muscles and the peripheral tissues, and then there's some people that think it has to do with neuromuscular junctions and a dysfunction at the neuromuscular junction. We just found out this weekend Ryan doesn't cramp.
What?
That's not part of his routine fatigue.
It's just not part of my routine. I didn't schedule it in. Why would I cramp?
Well, there genuinely are people who just don't cramp. Like, that's not how they get tired. When I get tired, when Sam gets tired, probably something genetic, we cramp hard.
I didn't until my 40s.
Well, I've always like
cramped.
that's how I fatigue is I start to cramp. I think that if I had to pick, I would lean more on the imbalance of water and salts that happen during exercise. I mean, you're losing pure water through sweat. You're getting salt on the outside of the skin that was on the inside of the body, that sort of thing. We know that if you drink more electrolyte mixes, you get less cramping, that sort of a thing. But other things you can do to prevent cramping is stretching, unfortunately. I hate stretching. But one of the things I tell
You like reaching the beer on the top of the shelf?
Yeah, it's an arm stretch. Try
Okay.
doing it with your foot next time. But
Shit, that's good.
one of the things I tell patients all the time, because even non-athletes struggle with cramping, is bedtime stretches seem to help all day long the next day. Yoga helps. Good Lord.
He said stretching,
Sorry.
not tugging.
Oh.
Yeah, come on. And then interestingly, I think we've talked about this before. There's a medication called quinine that was originally an anti-malarial.
It's no longer around, right? Like you can't prescribe it.
No, I mean you can use it for anti-malarials, and you can use it off-label for cramping, but it has pretty serious adverse effect or adverse risks. You can have some pretty severe hemolytic anemias from it, and like pretty life-threatening conditions. So it's pretty poor form to treat a cramp with something that can kill you.
Yeah.
But you can get small doses of it in tonic water. So
I was just about to type
Yeah.
tonic and quinine. My wife
Yeah.
always says, "Don't drink gin and tonic. It's got quinine in it."
Well, that's you're probably
You
not
should
going to
drink
get
a lot of gin and tonic.
you're not
it's
going to
yummy.
get weird
Yeah.
anemias probably from your G&Ts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Depending on the actual quantity of them, but it can help you. Tonic water can help with cramps.
Just
And-
lean towards more gin.
Yeah. What is it with these like the pickle juice with some of these shots? I remember when I was in Leadville, I got
Hot
to the top
shots.
of a climb, and the guy gave me hot shots was just coming out. He says, "You got any cramps?" I'm like, "That's personal, but yeah." and he gave me this thing, and I shot it back, and it was like jalapenos and cinnamon.
I don't know about the
and sin.
I don't know about the cinnamon part, but all of these electrolyte or these cramping remedies are just salt. Like it's ways to get different electrolytes into your body quickly, and try to get the balance of water between your blood and cells back on track to prevent cramping. But
isn't cinnamon an anti-inflammatory? That's probably why they threw it in there.
Yeah, it's cinnamon, turmeric. They have
Probably
like
not that
mild anti-inflammatory effects, but I don't know how much it actually does for.
Somebody
cramping.
told me once it was just a way to shock your body into forgetting about cramping.
That could be. Yeah, that could be.
All I know is it scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Fit tips with Bike Fit Sam Waples. That's me. Low back pain and saddle numbness while riding. I tried lowering the nose of my saddle. This is just a person who brought this out. What other options are there to help with low back pain and saddle numbness? I gotta still talk to you about wrists, but anyway, I'll bring that later.
That kind of ties into this because this is something I see quite frequently. Somebody will come in and they're like, "Well, I had saddle numbness, so I tried lowering the nose of my saddle down, and then I had more wrist pain. I had low back pain, and they come in with a pretty significant drop in the nose of their saddle, in which." Don't you ride with a pretty...
I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the nose drop, yeah.
Yeah.
But not a huge drop. Like,
it's pretty good.
A bit of a drop.
It's wild.
really?
I don't really understand the physics of Ryan, but
okay.
they do exist. So, but for normal humans that are not robots, what you should do is lower the saddle and then set it to neutral. You should be able to get your saddle to neutral to stabilize the pelvis, because if you have the tilt of the saddle down, more times than not, what that's going to do is it's going to push weight into your hands. You're going to get wrist pain. And so a lot of the low back pain is then going to stem from that because you do this, what we call posterior pelvic tilt, where you rotate the belt back to be able to stabilize your pelvis with the nose of the saddle down. So if you can bring the nose up, lower the saddle down, usually it solves both of them. And just broad sweeping terms, like let's say low it down like 2-3 centimeters.
Wow.
And
That's
it's a ton. But it's and that's gonna probably be too low, and it's probably going to not feel right. But start there, and then we can start inching it back up to where you feel stable. But if you lower it down,
immediately alleviate the problem,
Yep.
you found the source of the problem.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
from
yeah.
there, we can start raising the saddle up in that neutral form until you're like, oh yeah, okay, that feels like I'm steady and I'm able to produce power.
All right. Look at us. Jackson, I apologize. We're going to bump you.
Next week.
Take no offense.
Okay. For our final K, and the final K is the final question. And we have 1 minute and 19 seconds to all answer this question. And before I hit I will say the question before I hit it. Should we make Ryan go first or last?
I'm here for it.
First.
Right.
Hit me.
So the question is, what was the first dream bike you remember coveting?
First dream bike. Oh man, I get to say some naughty words.
Yeah.
It was the one time I worked in a bike shop, and it was the first $10,000 bike I'd ever seen. It was probably 2004.
that was the wrong outro anyway, so you're good. So
I'm still
keep
here.
going.
All right.
going.
And it was the one of the first years of the Trek Madone, and there was the Lance Armstrong Trek Madone special.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that is a dirty word.
They did was lace some gold on it and double the price and put Lance Armstrong's name on it. And I was like, I was an Armstrong baby. I'll admit to it now.
There we go. He took up a shitload of time. Jackson.
No, it was completely fine.
I'm giving you a hard time.
I own it currently. It's my VMC.
Oh, that's adorable. Sam.
S-Works. Tarmac. Yeah. And I had it.
Paul.
1976 Clonago with Campanolo.
Oh yeah.
There we go.
Wet.
David.
Mine was actually the exact same as Ryan's.
Yes.
My dad brought it to a show and tell as a second grader, and I was like, I want this bike. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine was the blue Giton from Renault, and Paul's the only one who's going to get this reference.
What is a Giton?
Giton. It is a French bicycle, and it was gorgeous, and the Renault team rode it. Le Mans first team. Bernard Hinault's major team, first team. It's blue, yellow, taped.
Who's Le Mans?
Uh-oh.
Sam will no longer be appearing on the Pack Filler podcast. Thanks, everybody. Ryan, thanks for coming in and playing with us tonight.
Fantastic to be here.
Yeah, the rest of you guys, you're stuck. This is like your penance. You are Sisyphus pushing this podcast up a hill, and it's going to fall back down again, and we got to do it again next week. Yep, right. Yep.
Love you too, Pat.
David's standing up because he has to go pee. I guess that takes us out. We will talk to you guys next week.
My bladder's really
Thank you.
improved.